Hello, this is Frida Liu. You're watching The Shift to Asia. Shangri-La Rasa Ria, Kota Kinabalu has set a new benchmark for sustainable practices in the hospitality sector, becoming the first hotel in Malaysia to be awarded the ISO 20121 certification for sustainable event management. The resort is also the first property within the Shangri-La Group globally to receive this certification. Nestled within 460 acres, featuring a 64-acre forest reserve, Shangri-La Rasa Ria integrates sustainability into various facets of its operations, including the Eco Ria Reserve, research and eco trails, and a community glass cutting facility. Their vision emphasizes collaboration, actively engaging with local suppliers and partners to empower small businesses and artisans, and cultivating a strong partnership with Pakos Trust, a community-based organization dedicated to supporting indigenous communities in Sabah. And as Malaysia prepares for Visit Malaysia 2026, Shangri-La Rasa Ria aims to promote the country as a leading destination for sustainable and eco-conscious events. I'm here today with the woman who set this path, Fiona Hagan, General Manager of Shangri-La Rasa Ria. Nice to meet you again, Fiona. And I had the privilege to enjoy this beautiful resort. So, and you've led Shangri-La Rasa Ria to become the first hotel in Malaysia with ISO 20121 certification. Looking back, what were the most significant leadership decisions and internal shifts in mindset required to achieve this milestone?
Thanks, Frida. The most important one was a real shift in mindset. And I think that was my own personal shift in mindset, was that this needed to be about the stakeholders involved. And the most important stakeholders are our people, actually. So it starts with our people, our staff, and we have over 80% of our people are from Tuaran, from the local community. So for us, that was the first step, was really stakeholder engagement. How do we make this important to them? And so the journey started around 7 to 8 years ago when I joined the resort as General Manager, was really building that trust with our team, that Shangri-La has always been a company focused on doing business in a sustainable way. And we have been a part of the community in Tuaran for 30 years next year. So we had this fantastic platform to work from with our people.
30 years, huh? I didn't realize, because I was like, how long has this hotel been around? 30 years, right? So Shangri-La Rasa Ria was the first in the group to achieve ISO 20121. What factors made the resort a suitable pioneer, and are there plans for, I guess, other hotels, Shangri-La hotels, to follow suit?
Yeah, I think firstly, this ISO certification is specific to sustainable events. With our 460 acres, our golf course, our beautiful beach, we are a natural MICE international business events destination. So that meant that we needed to compete on a global scale. So when we pitch for business, or when we talk to international companies wanting to do business with us, we're competing with Thailand, with Singapore, with other regional destinations. And this certification actually helps to place us onto that global stage, that yes, we are committed and we take this approach towards sustainable events very seriously. So it made very good business sense for us, quite frankly. Yes, absolutely. Made very good business sense for us. And also our unique location. We have a 64-acre nature reserve. We're located in an environmental location. And Sabah, which really positions itself as an ecotourism destination. So we, together with my team, we felt that this was something we could own. We could be different, we could be unique, and we could really be pioneering, particularly inside Malaysia. And we hope through this certification that we will inspire other, similar hotels and venues inside Malaysia to follow suit.
And of course, like I said, until you've experienced it, but even the eco reserve, until you go, you don't realize how huge it is. And then of course you feel it going up the hike, but it was worth it watching the sunrise, right? So, and I know that Shangri-La has this Triple S initiative that undermines every business and operation. Could you tell us what the Triple S and what are its objectives?
Yeah, so in Shangri-La, we're very focused on triple S is stay, savor, and shine. So stay actually represents everything to do with the guest stay within the hotels, and this is actually represented across all of our hotels globally. So this talks about bathroom amenities, can talk about linen, about wastage inside rooms, recycling, repurposing, anything to do with the guest stay within the property. It talks about utilities, water usage, energy reduction initiatives. Then we have Savor, which is probably one of my favourite ones. It talks about food.
Right.
So Savor really looks at we have a program called Rooted in Nature. So this looks at the supply chain. Where does our product come from? So whether each of our hotels actually operates its own chef's garden, if they can, if it's relevant in their location, or to ensure that we're working with sustainable food suppliers.
Right.
Our seafood, is our seafood sustainable seafood that we're serving, and to also ensure that the suppliers that we're working for have safe practices and also governance in place. So that sits underneath Savor. And then Shine represents the way that we show up in the local community.
Right.
So each of our hotels globally have a commitment to really work within the local community. So we look at, in Shangri-La Rasa Ria, for example, we look in Tuaran. What can we do with education, with schools, maybe with single women, with different programs inside the local community.
Right. So interesting. So you look within Tuaran itself, where you're located, of course, the greater Sabah as it is, right?
Yeah.
So as the Sustainability Report 2024 indicated, achieving carbon intensity targets might extend beyond 2030. And what are the primary challenges and obstacles hindering the achievement of these targets by 2030? And I know a lot of organizations, do have challenges, right? But what are some of the concerns?
Yeah, I think firstly, I'm really proud to work for Shangri-La that stated that, as a goal and as an objective. In our space, obviously, there are lots of areas that we can control and some that we cannot. So I leave that at a global level for our group to really focus on. But inside our hotel, and what we can do locally is really most important, is what can we do, primarily what we're focused on in a hotel at the moment is how can we have diversion from landfill?
Okay.
Let's really take a look at it. Can be composting, it can be, looking at organic waste, what can we do more within our control and within our local community to actually work towards that 2030 goal.
Right. And the glass cutting facility.
Yes.
Which is really interesting, right? So not just within the hotel, but within the community, they can actually bring the glass bottles and instead of the bottles being in landfills, now that you can be repurposed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, so you talked a little bit about the rooted in nature as well, right? Does it involve a broader range of environmental engagements?
It does. So rooted in nature is, it's a lovely way for us to wrap up this, whether it be our sustainable food sourcing, our menus, even when a guest dines inside the hotel. So they can actually explore a rooted in nature menu, which primarily is focused on can be plant-based, or it can also be sustainable sourced food. So in Sabah, for example, we have a lot of seafood. And so this is something that the guests can enjoy. On the second side, or on the other side, a lot of planning goes into this. So I think the rooted in nature, what our guests don't see is the planning from our executive chefs, from our procurement teams. And we actually go into these suppliers and we will offer training.
Okay.
We will do independent audits of their workplace to ensure that the products that they're representing are actually fulfilling the requirements, whether it's through governance. We also have a rooted in nature for us is also about thinking how we can reduce food waste. For hotels, that is obviously something, we offer these wonderful buffets and wonderful food choices for our guests. So underpinning this is also how can we produce an offering for our guests that still maintains the luxury experience representing our local location.
Right.
But through a lens of let's look at reducing our food waste across different areas.
Right. And I experienced the a la carte buffet, right? So where you realize you don't need to eat as much.
Yes.
And it's not this big spread, but you have these little places and you just eat what you need, right? And you realize you don't need to eat so much.
Exactly. And that's a great example.
Right.
That's a great, and that was really driven through our local chefs, actually, who understood that, particularly in Malaysia, we have a great love of food and variety, but we don't need to put that all out. And this gives our guests a greater experience, smaller portions, and ultimately reduces our food waste.
Right. So I know $1.8 million has been contributed to charitable causes. So does this figure pertain solely to Rasa Ria's efforts or encompass the broader Shangri-La Group's initiatives?
Yeah, this number of 1.8 million, it really encompasses the group and the group's efforts across all of our hotels. Inside Shangri-La Rasa Ria, we primarily focus our local sort of charitable donations on schools, and we work with the education department.
Right.
So we have a program called Embrace, and Embrace is a program that has been long-standing inside Shangri-La Rasa Ria, and we work with the local district school office to help on infrastructure improvement.
Right.
If a school, for example, has been damaged by flood, we will go in and we will do an assessment, a joint assessment with the government, and if we can help, then we will actually help build on capital investment inside those schools.
And I know you do some work with through the Eco Ria, working with one of the organizations. I met the doctor, the Belgian.
Dr. Benoit.
Yeah, Dr. Benoit. Right.
We do. Yeah. We do. So partnerships for us is a very big opportunity. Our resort with the different offerings that we have, we need partners. So Dr. Benoit's with the General Manager Field Research Centre. So they partner with us primarily on our nature reserve.
Okay.
They help us with upskilling our resident naturalists. We send them out to their field research centre.
Right.
They're also supporting us. We currently have a university student from the University of Sabah with us, University of Malaysia, based in Sabah, studying pangolins.
Right.
So she has been up to the General Field Research Centre and will be conducting her research inside our nature reserve.
Okay. Find out more about the pangolins a little later, but that was so interesting, eye-opening for me as well, right? I guess what are the key differences in managing Shangri-La Rasa Ria compared to other Shangri-La hotels, right? What would you say are some management approaches that work globally, and what needs to be adapted? Because you've got your resort and your city, and you've had the experience of both.
I think the uniqueness of Shangri-La Rasa Ria is the diversity. You have 460 acres, we have a golf course, nature reserve, 3-kilometre beach, and then you start to look at the hotel operation itself. And with that comes, it has to come great teamwork.
Right.
You cannot have it. It's very different to working in a city structure building. When you're working with the environment, actually I start with landscaping,
right?
Which people may find a little odd for a general manager, but every day my day starts with landscaping,
right?
Because that's what the guest sees, touches, feels.
Yeah.
So
that's why I left the city for, right?
Yeah.
To enjoy the landscape.
It's true. So that for me, actually, my day always starts in the gardens.
Okay.
And that can be looking for efficacy, of the partners that help to take care of our gardens. It can be inquisitive. Well, what is that flower? What is the bird that I can hear? Because this is the guest's first experiences our resorts through their ears and their eyes. Yeah.
Right.
So for me, landscaping was something really unexpected. Guest activities, nature. I think 2 days ago, I have a beautiful picture. My team are really celebrating. They've found we have a baby owl, which is in our nature reserve, which is about 3 days old,
right.
that our team are watching very, very carefully to ensure that this owl actually, is able to fly off and enjoy it. And I think that is just wonderful. These These are experiences that people travel for long distances to have. My challenge as a general manager, and the challenge I give to the team, is how can we take these small experiences or small opportunities, this beautiful little owl, and offer that to all of the guests inside the hotel? How can we ring a bell and say we have something really unique and different for you to experience?
Right. Ooh, baby owl. And I guess, what is your personal vision for the future of sustainable hospitality at your hotel, and what key initiatives are you more excited about implementing in the coming years?
I think sustainable hospitality and luxury and sustainability actually can coexist. Many hotels, many organisations are showing and committed to that today. What does that look like in our space and my personal vision? I think my vision for Rasa Ria is that every one of our guests and our colleagues can feel that by staying and by working inside Shangri-La Rasa Ria, they have this wonderful, inclusive experience that's really enriching. But at the same time, they leave having a little bit of a lighter impact on the world around them. So I think nothing should be ever discounted inside that space. What does that look like moving ahead? Something I'm really excited about is we are in the final stages of becoming an SLDN certified training centre, skills centre, which I'm very excited for our people, for our staff, which means we can first certify our people, and then we can introduce new certification levels for trainees into the hotel, which I think is the future for tourism in Sabah. The industry needs to work with government, needs to work with more partners to ensure that our industry can continue to attract young talent in. So I think that's first step for me is sustainability is about our people. Second step is about amplifying the message to our guests. So we will be talking about a program called Eco Ria. This is coming very soon. I'm really excited about this. It will be like a living sustainability lab. Encompassing all of the different guest activities and areas where the guests can actually have a lower impact during their stay. I'm very excited. We should be launching this in a couple of months. And then looking forward, we talked about 2030. I think the bigger vision for us is how we can reduce our footprint in our local environment. What does that look like? How we can divert product from waste from landfill, how we can improve our composting, how we can open up different initiatives inside the resort, like our glass recycling program, where we can invite the community to come in and be part of different sustainability initiatives. So it's coming.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that I haven't asked yet?
No, I would just like to say thank you, for the opportunity today. We're really excited about the work that we've done in Shangri-La Rasa Ria. This is a real testament to, I think, Shangri-La as a company. They really encourage all of us to, as I said, really do business in a sustainable manner and do what is right for the community around us. So I'm really excited. I would like to invite everybody to come and to visit and to see, whether it's to play golf, whether to swim, or to come and help us crush some glass bottles. But I would really love you to come and explore.
Congratulations again for putting that hotel on the map. And I think it's really something that people should explore and find out a little bit more. I'm saying this because I've been, and it's just something to be experienced, and it's a bit more different, right? When you talk about it and when you've experienced it. But kudos again, and thank you for being here. And of course, you've been watching The Shift Asia.